Welcome to the deep dive. If you've ever seen those headlines, a huge company picking a town for a new factory or HQ, and wondered what did they actually do to win that deal? Well, this deep dive's for you.
Yeah, today we're really getting into the weeds of corporate site selection. It's high stakes. We're looking at documents from places like Fulton County, New York, and insights from the Site Selectors Guild. And what they show is, while economic development has fundamentally shifted,
Shifted how?
it's become a race against the clock. Gone are the days where you could just sell, potential. Now it's all about having sites that are truly shovel-ready. Total commitment.
And the biggest, maybe most surprising thing driving this? Speed. Just sheer speed. We saw Christopher Lloyd from McGuire Woods Consulting point out something pretty startling. Decision timelines for these massive projects.
Yeah.
They used to stretch out maybe 1 to 3 years sometimes.
Now it's compressed down to just 3 or 4 months.
3 or 4 months. That's
Yeah.
incredibly fast.
It is. And you have to understand why. It's not just impatience, it's pure economics and risk. Every day, a billion-dollar project sits idle, waiting for, say, a zoning variance or a power line hookup.
The costs just spiral.
Exactly. Exponentially. You've got material costs changing, supply chains are still, unpredictable, and then there's just the lost revenue. Huge opportunity cost. Companies simply cannot afford to wait around.
So if a community can't match that pace?
They're out. Instantly. Ruled out before they even really get a look in.
Okay, so our mission today is to unpack what this shovel-ready thing really means in this hyperspeed world, and then we'll look at those other key pieces, talent and community vision. Let's start with readiness. What does shovel-ready actually involve?
Right. So shovel-ready isn't just some nice marketing phrase anymore. It's a hard checklist. It means the community, the economic developers, they've already de-risked the site before a company even calls.
De-risk how? Like what specifically are companies demanding up front?
They want proof. Solid reports, all done. Think environmental assessments, phase ones, sometimes more. Cultural, archaeological surveys. All clear. Zoning has to be locked in. Permits basically pre-approved.
Okay.
And crucially, utilities. Is there enough power? Can the wastewater system handle the load? That needs to be confirmed, not just hoped for. And of course, things like easy access to highways, rail, maybe airports, and suppliers.
But isn't that a ton of upfront cost and effort for the community on spec, essentially? What if no company comes?
It is a big investment, absolutely. But the alternative is worse. The risk for the company of discovering a major environmental issue or finding out they can't get enough electricity after they've committed, that's potentially catastrophic for them. Far outweighs the community's upfront cost.
So that quote from Christopher Lloyd really hits home then, if a community hasn't done this homework.
They're automatically ruled out. He said they're not even going to be considered. Site selectors running those searches just filter them out immediately, no time.
Wow. Okay, and there's data backing this up, right? From the Site Selectors Guild.
Oh, absolutely. Their 2024 report is pretty definitive. Get this. 96% of their members said access to shovel-ready sites has a substantial impact on whether a project is even feasible down the line.
96%. That's almost everyone.
Almost everyone. But here's the kicker. 82% strongly agreed that shovel-ready sites with all that infrastructure capacity guaranteed are the top drivers in picking a location. The number one thing.
82%. Strongly agree. Okay, that changes the game. It's not a factor. It's the factor for many.
Pretty much. It tells you where communities need to focus their energy and, frankly, their budgets.
And we see Fulton County doing exactly that, right? They're putting resources into this.
They are. They're being strategic. They've identified a big site, 250 acres, and they're actively pursuing something called the Fast NY Shovel Ready certification. That's a state program in New York.
What does that certification do?
It basically means the state helps streamline all those reviews, environmental, planning, etc. It pre-certifies the site, shaving critical months, maybe even years, off the approval process for a company. It's tangible proof they're ready to move fast.
So they're not just saying, we're open for business. They're saying, we've done the work, the site's ready, let's go.
Exactly. It meets that mandate for speed.
Okay, all right. So let's say the site is perfect. Certified, utilities guaranteed, permits lined up, the dirt is ready. But what about the people? Larry Gigrich from Genovis made a good point. A great site is useless without workers. What's next?
That's the other side of the coin. The talent equation.
Yeah.
It's absolutely critical. Companies aren't just looking for any workers, they need skilled workers. And they need to know there's a pipeline, a steady stream of them.
A pipeline, meaning?
Meaning they need proof that the local education system from K-12 through community colleges, maybe even universities, is actively working with local businesses. They need to see real collaboration.
So not just general education, but tailored programs.
Yes, precisely. It's about building this highly cooperative effort, schools understanding exactly what skills manufacturers or tech companies need, and then actually designing courses or training programs to deliver those skills. It has to be responsive.
Like a feedback loop between industry and education.
You got it. So when a company looks at Fulton County, they see evidence that the schools are partners in creating the workforce they'll need, not just hoping people show up.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, let's connect that talent piece to the location itself. We heard that rising costs are pushing businesses further out, maybe into more suburban or even rural areas. This brings up quality of place, or QOP.
Right. QOP has become massively important, especially with this trend. If you're asking skilled engineers, technicians, managers, whoever, to move to an area that's maybe not a major metro.
They need a reason to come and a reason to stay.
Exactly. Larry Gigerich called it the really important underpinning for talent attraction and retention. You're not just selling a job anymore, you're selling a whole lifestyle. Can people see themselves living there happily?
So for a place like Fulton County, which isn't, downtown Manhattan, how do they pitch their QOP? What are their selling points?
They lean into their unique assets. They're right there in the foothills of the Adirondacks. So instead of a nightmare commute, you could be, hiking or on a lake 20 minutes after work. That's a powerful draw for many people today.
Recreation, outdoors. That's big.
Huge. Plus, they talk about having a strong arts community, different activities. It's about showing there's life outside of work.
And what about the practical stuff, like housing? That's a major pain point everywhere.
And that's where they're smart. They specifically highlight developing quality housing that's, and this is key, extremely affordable compared to the big cities.
So they're tackling that cost of living issue head on.
Directly. Think about it. Can a mid-level manager actually afford to buy a decent house? In many major metros, the answer is increasingly no. If Fulton County can offer that, it's a massive competitive advantage for attracting and keeping talent.
Plus, access to things like healthcare.
Yep. They make sure to mention they have 2 major healthcare systems operating there. So you have the job, the affordable house, the recreation, and essential services. It paints a complete picture.
Okay, so it's this blend, ready site, plus the talent pipeline, plus the desirable, affordable place to live. That seems like a strong package. Is that it? Or is there another piece?
There's one more critical piece. You can have the best site, the best workforce plan, the best QOP, but if nobody knows about it?
Marketing, getting the word out.
Exactly. It sounds obvious, but many communities apparently overlook this. They do all the hard prep work, but then they don't budget or plan to actually reach the site selectors, the decision makers, the investment community.
Christopher Lloyd flagged this too, didn't he? He said something like,
Yeah, basically, you have the best site in the world, but if you don't have a budget for promoting it, it doesn't do any good. It just sits there, unknown.
you have to be proactive.
Proactive and authentic. Gigerich made a great point here, too. Communities need to tell its story in an authentic way.
Authentic how? What does that mean in practice?
It means going beyond just listing assets. It's about showing your vision. Where is this community actually going in the next 3, 5, 10 years? What's the long-term plan? What's the commitment?
So site selectors aren't just looking at today, they're betting on the future of that place.
Absolutely. They want to see that the community leadership, the residents, everyone is bought into a shared future, that there's momentum. If it feels like they're just hoping for a quick win, a one-off project, that's less attractive than a place with a clear, committed long-term vision.
Okay, so wrapping this up, what we're seeing is this like three-legged stool for success. You need that intense site readiness for speed. You need the talent and the quality of place. And you need to effectively market that whole package with an authentic, forward-looking vision.
That's the formula that seems to be working. That comprehensive approach is what gets you from being instantly ruled out to actually being in the running.
This has been really illuminating. So if we boil it down for anyone listening, whether you're in economic development, business, or just interested, 2 big takeaways seem clear. First, speed rules. The prep work has to happen before the opportunity knocks.
No question. The timelines demand it.
And second, that prep has to be holistic. It's the hard stuff, the infrastructure, yes.
Right.
But it's equally about the soft stuff, the people, the lifestyle, the community story.
Right. They're intertwined. You can't really succeed with one without the other anymore.
Okay, now before we wrap up, let's zoom out a bit. Thinking about this bigger picture,
Uh-huh.
this massive emphasis on getting sites shovel-ready, which, as we've discussed, requires significant upfront investment in studies, engineering, securing utilities. It's expensive, right?
Very expensive, yes.
Yeah.
It takes serious resources.
So what does that mean for, say, smaller towns
Mm.
or communities that maybe don't have a big, sophisticated economic development team or the tax base to fund all these prerequisite studies?
That's the really important question, isn't it?
It feels like the barrier to entry might be getting higher. If you can't afford to play the shovel-ready game up front, can you even compete for these big projects anymore? Is the cost of just getting considered fundamentally higher now?
It certainly raises that possibility. How do smaller players keep up when the baseline requirements are becoming so resource intensive?
Something to think about, definitely. How does this intense competition and focus on pre-certification impact equity across different types of communities?
Yeah, a question worth mulling over as you see these development stories unfold.
Indeed. Well, thank you for joining us for this deep dive. Lots to consider there.
My pleasure.
We'll catch you next time on The Deep Dive.